Yo, what's going on YouTube? I am Germ here. I hope you guys have missed me because I've definitely missed you guys. And so far, coming back and making a couple of videos has been a ton of fun. And I'm definitely, like I said, I have the itch. I want to make some content. I want to make some videos. I want to talk about League of Legends esports. That's what we're going to continue to do today. We have some big news, rumors, and I think a pretty interesting discussion to be had surrounding Vulcan and maybe just the LEC and LCS in general, hitting on some key points here. But there's some rumors, there's some discussion, all different kinds of stuff in the story. So I think it should be a pretty interesting one, a pretty fun one. We all know that this was April 23rd, yesterday. Achieve Minds. This is a player organization, a player and performance agency that is based in Europe, based actually in Berlin, I believe. That tweeted out, "Welcome, Vulcan LOL. We're excited to have you here, Philip." And people were kind of starting to have some reaction to that because not only had Vulcan already tweeted out, expect the unexpected, not only had we already gotten the announcement from Evil Geniuses that, hey, we're going to be making some roster changes heading into the summer, and then we have the reports from guys like Travis and guys like Alejandro that are like, yeah, EG is going to be going budget. They're going to be maybe changing everyone except for JoJo. What's going to be going on with EG, we don't know. Obviously, Vulcan was going to be on the move. Now, there's some options in the LCS, but people are saying, hey, Vulcan potentially being on the move, also being one of the best players in the LCS, and the fact that the LCS is kind of on a downward trend right now, money, resources kind of being sucked out of the LCS, player salaries going down and down and down, player, different orgs wanting to go budget and stuff like that, perhaps meaning that now could be a time for players like Vulcan and some of the guys at the top that maybe previously would have demanded these monster contracts, who would have stayed in the LCS to make this amount of money and live in Los Angeles and live the easier lifestyle and have similar results in the LEC. Maybe these guys are now going to be greater incentivized to head over to the LEC because the LCS, viewership, fanfare, money, resources, chance of international success, all these things are going down. Vulcan, he's won a ton of LCS titles already. He doesn't have anything left to prove in the LCS. Maybe he could be headed to Europe. And then, obviously, these rumors and kind of speculation got fueled even further when Vulcan tweets out, hey, good morning from Berlin. This picture of him, apparently somewhere in Berlin, obviously. And then him drinking whatever he's got going on here. We also had this from Niski as well. Obviously, they played on Cloud9 together. They seem to be friends of some kind. They're eating together. He says, welcome to the LEC at Vulcan. Now, hey, Vulcan, he's a big memer. Niski, he's a big memer. And if Vulcan was really going to the LEC, especially in a couple weeks, couple days, whatever, would Vulcan and Niski be laying it on this thick? I don't know. So I am a little bit skeptical. Also in this picture, Vulcan even wearing an LCS hoodie. I don't know if that's like, some kind of third level of like he's messing with us about messing with us, and he is going to the LEC, he's staying in the LCS. Who knows? But I do think that there's a ton going on here. People just saying, oh, hey, he signed to Achieve Minds and they're this European organization. That means he's going to the LEC. I think that's very, not very high level thinking. I think that's not necessarily a great thing. Yes, Achieve Minds, if they are based out of Europe, could that mean he's going to the LEC? Yeah, sure. But can Achieve Minds also represent players that are signed with LCS teams? And do they have connections? Can they still do business in the LCS and NA? Yeah. Does Achieve Minds maybe want to continue to branch out and continue to grow and get more business done in the United States? Yeah, sure. There's tons of businesses and agencies and stuff that want to do that. But I also think there's even another level of, hey, maybe Vulcan's going to stay in the LCS for summer for one more split because, it's weird. It's hard to find a great roster, a great spot in the middle of the splits. Maybe Vulcan is looking ahead to the future where maybe in 2024, if resources and money and viewership keeps going down and all these negatives surrounding the LCS keep happening, maybe he could be looking to make a bigger change headed into next year. I don't know. All these are possibilities, but we have heard I think a couple of different people already talking about how Vulcan could maybe be headed to FlyQuest and how that could make a lot of sense and how FlyQuest is going to be interested in him and maybe he's going to be interested in that org. So I don't know. There is some rumors, there's some speculation, rumblings about Vulcan maybe heading to the LEC. Obviously, he's in Berlin right now. I'm sure, I wouldn't be shocked if he's talking to some teams. Maybe if he even tries out for some teams. Maybe he meets with some owners or GMs or players or whatever, coaches. That's totally possible. But I don't think that from everything we've seen so far, it means 100% he's going to the LEC or anything like that. I think it's still very, very possible we could see him back in the summer. Now, just even the idea of somebody like him, Vulcan, some of these guys at the top of the LCS and guys who have already accomplished a ton in the LCS, guys like Blabber, guys like Vulcan, even a guy like Berserker now, obviously, who we know is going to have a ton of opportunities to go wherever he wants, whether it be the LEC, Korea, wherever in the future. So many of these guys, like I said, if salaries keep decreasing in the LCS, if the LCS keeps having to make budget cuts, if teams need to keep going budget and can't field full competitive rosters, and if maybe the future of the LCS is even in question a couple years from now, these guys could definitely make the move to the LEC. They could definitely perform very, very well. And as the salaries become closer and closer in the LEC and LCS, there's maybe even going to be more reason for them to go over there. And I know there's always questions about imports and how well they're going to perform and all these things. I think over the past couple of years, we've seen obviously a ton of Korean players and European players come to the LCS and not be as successful as people would like, or not be as dominant as they were in their previous leagues and previous teams. And I think some of that has to do with obviously moving across the world is very, very hard, playing away from home and just playing in a different environment, different teams, coaching staffs, solo queue, all that stuff is very, very hard. But also some of those people were definitely coming to collect big checks. They were coming to retire. They were coming to live the NA lifestyle in Los Angeles and get caught up in a lot of things, outside of League of Legends. And I do think that is part of the reason why so many imports were unsuccessful, on top of the fact that our solo queue's garbage, our coaching staffs are largely garbage, you don't play against great competition in the LCS, so many other reasons. And I think a ton of those reasons won't be there if players like Vulcan, Blabber, whatever player you want to say, considers or eventually does move from the LCS to the LEC. Obviously, no one is going from Los Angeles to Berlin to live some amazing lifestyle for the weather, for the huge contracts that aren't necessarily going to be there in the LEC. So if somebody does make the trip halfway across the world or whatever, it's going to be because they want to win. They want what's best for their career. They want to go hard. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to work out. That doesn't mean it's going to always pan out, or they're going to do amazing, or their team's going to do amazing, or have great results or whatever. But as the LEC keeps doing well, viewership stays high, it seems like they have a bright future ahead of them. European fans seem excited about competitive League of Legends, and the exact opposite in the LCS. I think we're going to have more and more stories like this where players at least consider this swap. Now, like I said, with all that being said, I don't necessarily think we're going to see Vulcan in the LEC in 2023, but I would not be shocked at all if we see Vulcan and a couple of players like him in the LEC in 2024. I think if Vulcan was close to a move to Europe or the LEC or anything like that, we would have heard something by now from Wooloo, from Alejandro, from one of these names. We've already heard that Inspired is potentially looking at both LCS and LEC offers. I do think that probably at this point the most likely landing spot for Vulcan in 2023 summer is going to be FlyQuest, and then who knows what the future has in store after that. But yes, all kinds of trolling, all kinds of memes, all kinds of things going on, and it is absolutely possible we could see Vulcan in Europe in the summer. I just don't think it's guaranteed, and I don't even think it's the most likely outcome at this point, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. One of the best players in the LCS, potentially on the move, for sure on the move, potentially a short distance, potentially a long distance, who knows, we'll have to wait and see. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully I catch you in the next one, but until then, peace.